Genesis, chapter 4, chapter 11. Cain, Noah, Babel. 3 stories. One God who restores. In the very beginning, everything was new. The world was still fresh from God's breath, creation alive and beautiful. But it didn't take long for humanity's story to show what happens when hearts drift away from God's way. These next few stories, about 2 brothers, a man who built a giant boat, and a tower that reached for the sky, remind us of something deeply human. How easily we forget who we are, and how far God is willing to go to bring us back. Genesis, chapter 4. A brother's keeper. Adam and Eve had 2 sons, Cain, the farmer, and Abel, the shepherd. 2 different callings, 2 different offerings. One day, both brought gifts to God. Abel brought the best of his flock, his firstborn lambs. Cain brought some crops from the ground. Scripture says God accepted Abel's offering, but not Cain's. We're not told every detail, but we are told this. Cain became furious. His face fell. Jealousy burned hot inside him. God spoke gently to Cain, like a father trying to reach his son before it's too late. Why are you angry? If you do what is right, won't you be accepted? But if you don't, sin is crouching at your door. It desires to have you, but you must rule over it. But Cain didn't listen. One day he said to his brother, "Come, let's go out to the field." And there, jealousy turned deadly. Cain rose up and killed Abel, his own brother. When God asked, "Where is your brother Abel?" Cain replied, "I don't know. Am I my brother's keeper?" And that's when the first human blood was spilled into the ground. God said, "Your brother's blood cries out to me." Cain was marked, not to be destroyed, but as a reminder. A life without love leads to exile. Genesis 6 through 9. The story of Noah. Generations passed, and the world filled up with people, but not with peace. Violence, corruption, and cruelty filled the earth. God saw that every thought of the human heart was evil all the time. It grieved him. The Creator who once called it good now saw what sin had done, and his heart broke. But there was one man who still walked with God, Noah. God told him, "I'm going to bring a flood to wash the earth clean. Build an ark. Bring your family and 2 of every living creature inside." Now imagine that, building a massive wooden ship in the middle of dry land, while everyone else laughed. But Noah trusted. He obeyed. And when the first raindrops fell, he and his family entered the ark, and God himself shut the door. The rain came. For 40 days and nights the skies poured out judgment, and the world was reset. When it was over and dry ground appeared again, Noah built an altar and offered a sacrifice. And God made a promise, the first covenant. Never again will I destroy the earth with a flood. He placed a rainbow in the clouds, a sign of mercy in the aftermath of judgment. Genesis, chapter 11, the Tower of Pride. After the flood, humanity multiplied again. People spoke one language and traveled together until they came to a plain in Shinar, what we now know as Babylon. They said to one another, "Let's build a city with a tower that reaches the heavens. Let's make a name for ourselves." Brick by brick, they began to build, not for God's glory, but for their own. A monument to pride. The construction site in chaos as workers suddenly can't understand each other. People gesture in confusion, then begin walking away in different directions. The unfinished tower stands abandoned. But God looked down and saw what they were doing. He said, "If they do this as one people, nothing will be impossible for them." So he came down and confused their language, scattering them across the earth. The tower stood unfinished, a reminder that human pride always falls short. From Cain's jealousy to Noah's obedience to Babel's pride, one truth runs through them all. God's mercy never gives up on humanity. Even when we fall, He offers a way back. Even when we drown in our own mistakes, He rebuilds with grace. Even when our towers crumble, His purpose still stands. Maybe your story feels broken, scattered, or lost right now. But Genesis tells us it's never too late for God to write a new beginning.